Do you smell it, Canes fans? Football is almost back, and you know what that means. It's time for my final official regular season prediction for the Miami Hurricanes. This is the one that counts. What's going on, Canes fans? I'm going to issue a challenge for today's video. If you disagree with any of my choices in this prediction, you have to subscribe to this channel. But if you agree with any of my choices in this video, you also have to subscribe to the channel. Deal? Cool, we got a deal.
What?
So let me go ahead and do the bullring thing that everyone doesn't want me to do, and they think it's not necessary, but it absolutely is. I promise you it is. And add a disclaimer before we dive into this thing. And what I want to say is just keep in mind that during the season, I do a preview video for each game, week to week. And in every preview video, I do a score prediction for the game. And I just want you to know that those could end up being very different than what I say in this video. And that's because, well, when the season actually gets here and we see the team take the field, we start to get a better idea of what this team actually can be. Because the reality is right now, everything we're discussing is on paper or based off of things that we saw last season or what we're hoping will possibly happen. So just keep that in mind. So let me also just go ahead and address the number one question you're probably asking. So why even do this? Well, honestly, I think it's fun to go back, look back at this at the end of the season and see which was closer. My prediction 2 weeks before kickoff of the season or my week-to-week predictions for each game. And sometimes the answer might surprise you because last season, my full season prediction in August actually ended up being more accurate than my week-to-week predictions. And also just keep in mind that we won't dive too deep into each team in this video because we already did that. A couple of months ago, I uploaded my way too early season prediction and we broke down each and every team on the schedule. So this is going to be a little more rapid fire. We'll just briefly discuss each team, and I'll tell you if it's going to be a win or a loss. So kicking things off week 1 against Miami of Ohio, the Redhawks. This is a win. I mean, come on, guys. It's a dub. Now, all joking aside, I'm not going to come on here and say that this game will be easy. Again, I was kind of just cracking some jokes there for a second. I do firmly believe that it will be a win, but I already said it. The reality is we don't really know what this team is going to look like, talking about the Miami Hurricanes. We hope that it's all positive and good things, but of course there's going to be some speed bumps and some kinks and things that need to be worked out, and there's going to be those first game jitters, even for some of the guys that have a lot of experience under their belt, because this is a new offense and a new defense, and even though we went 5-7 last year, there's a lot of really high expectations going into this season with the new hires that we've made. So, again, I think it's a win. I don't know how impressive it will be. It just depends on, this coaching staff and how well we already know the offense and defense. But I do think it'll be a dub because Miami of Ohio is just not a good football team. That's just facts. Let's move on. The Texas A&M rematch, except this time it's on our turf at Hard Rock Stadium. And this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, but I'm just going to go ahead and come out and say I think this is a loss again for Miami. And I know that last year they only beat us 17-9. Trust me, I understand that they also went 5-7, and the Aggies did not look good last year. And honestly, I'm surprised that they're ranking them so high going into the 2023 season. I'm not buying the hype when it comes to Jimbo and Texas A&M. However, everyone who's going to come out and say, Coop, we're going to be much improved this season, Texas A&M fans are also thinking the exact same thing. We're practicing, we're working hard to get better, and they are also doing those things. It's not just us. And I know the obvious answer, well, what we would think would be obvious is we're going to be much improved this year offensively. We're going vertical on people. It's going to be a high-powered offense. O-line should be improved. We've got depth in the running back room. If all of the problem was last year was that we couldn't put up enough points, we got only field goals, couldn't score in the red zone, this year should be an easy win, right? That makes the most sense. The problem is nothing is guaranteed, not in life or college football. And given our track record against SEC opponents, I'm going to have to see it to believe it this year. I do think that we're probably a better team than Texas A&M, maybe. But at this point in time, you know, a couple weeks before kickoff of the season, I just can't confidently say that. And you guys also have to remember that when I'm doing these videos, I'm setting my Canes pride and fandom to the side. I'm trying to make these predictions like I'm putting my life savings on it. Now, again, this is in August. I can't stress this enough. But I'm just saying that I can't confidently come up here on this platform right now and guarantee you a win against Texas A&M. Right now, it's a loss for me. Next up is Bethune-Cookman. We beat them last year by, I don't even remember how much, a lot, like 70-3 or 70-13. We're winning again this year. Let's move on. After that, we take on Temple, the football team that has won a combined 7 games over the last 3 years. This is another win for the Miami Hurricanes. Maybe if the Owls are lucky, they can move this number to 10 or 11 total wins over the last 4 years. Unfortunately for them, one of those wins will not be against us. So that would mean that we go into the bye week 3-1. And basically what we did is we beat the teams that we should beat, but we couldn't quite overcome that SEC hurdle. Now, luckily for us, it's not the end of the world, as much of a heartbreak as that would be, because now we're jumping into ACC play. And we kick it off this year against Georgia Tech. Now, this is a game that obviously we can't sleep on. We can't afford to do that against any opponent. I think that's a given. But Georgia Tech is just a mid-football team, and they have been for quite some time. I know they've got the best of us at times in previous years. I don't expect a whole lot out of the Yellow Jackets this year. This one's a win. Next up is a game that I want bad, and I mean real bad. Mac Brown and the Tar Heels. You know how I feel about this football team. And man, oh man, we've gotten closer, but we just can't seem to get the best of UNC. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have to put a loss here, and I'm going to pray that I'm wrong. Now, I do think that we could possibly win this game. Again, we as bad as we were last year, and we still kept it relatively close. I'm going to come out and say that we could win it, but if we do, it wouldn't be by a whole lot. I mean, the last 3 out of 4 games were decided by 3 points. So I do still anticipate a close game. I think Drake May is a great quarterback. Mac Brown has had our number for a hot minute. This is kind of the Texas A&M argument. Take away the SEC part, and it's one of those situations where I have to see it to believe it. It feels like it's been an eternity since we've beaten North Carolina. I actually went to the game in Chapel Hill, I think the last time that we beat North Carolina. I was there, and it's been forever since that last happened. So for right now, I got to chalk it up as an L. So that's a little frustrating, right? Right off the bat, we're 1-1 in the ACC, and then we have to face off against Clemson. Now, it is at Hard Rock this year, but unfortunately, we're still playing catch-up with the Tigers. I do believe that this will be another loss for us. We lost last year by 30, I believe, and I do anticipate that it could be closer, but by closer, I mean we only lose by like 21 or 24, possibly. I don't think it'll be quite 30, but I really think, yeah, there's a lot of sighing in this video, I know. I believe that Clemson could still and probably will win the conference this year. Again, we've got divisionless ACC. I know Florida State fans aren't going to like that opinion, and I don't know what the ACC championship game is going to be, who the two teams are going to be in it, but I think that Clemson will probably be one of them, and I think they'll come out on top. Next up is the Virginia Cavaliers, and we do in fact beat them again this year. The good news is that it doesn't take 4 overtimes to make it happen. I think this will be a relatively easy game. I don't think we'll have any problems against UVA. Now, NC State is a very interesting one. I need to remind you guys that in my way too early season prediction, I put this one down as a loss. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think that we're worried about Brennan Armstrong, who transferred from UVA to NC State. I know he's got a lot of experience, but we've beat Brennan Armstrong in the past. I just always feel like that we're going to lose a couple of games that we shouldn't lose, and I've kind of been trained to think that. I've got PTSD from that happening way too many times. It seems like every single year, be honest with me, right? We always drop 1, 2, or sometimes even 3 games. This should have been wins. The opportunities were there. It was almost handed to us on a silver platter, and we just could not find a way to make it happen. And this feels like one of those games. It's Carter Finley Stadium. It's tough, but I'm going to come out and say this. I'm actually going to flip this to a win in this official final season prediction. But I want you to know that I am very much on the fence with this one. As you can probably even read my body language right now. I'm literally 50-50 split on this game. I'm not even playing. So right now I'm going to say a win, and it's because I'm actually going to toss that L to another team that we'll talk about here in a few minutes. So on to Florida State. And obviously we don't need a recap of last season. I'm sure Seminole fans would love to talk about it even more, but we're not going to give them the pleasure of doing that. We're just going to jump straight into if this is a win or a loss. And I got to tell you something about the Miami versus Florida State game this year. I think we're going to lose it again. I know. No one wants to come up here on this platform and say that Miami is going to lose to FSU. Coop, you're not a real Miami fan. Are you serious right now? I told you guys, my Canes pride is over there off camera. I left it over to the side when sitting down, or rather standing up, and filming this video. And I know that Florida State fans are really hyped going into their season. I don't think they're going undefeated. I don't think that they're unbeatable. They're going to lose some games this season. But it's just too difficult right now for me to confidently say that Miami can beat Florida State. We always say throw records out the window. This is a rivalry matchup. This year it's at Doak. Maybe we can return the favor and give them some payback after curb stomping us at our house last year. We can roll into Doak and take care of business against them at their house this year. Maybe. But right now in August, this game is happening November 11th. That's late in the season. We'll have a better idea of where we stand and where they stand later. But if you wanted me to put money on that game right now, if you're talking straight up money line bet, there's no way I could put money on Miami in this one. I just can't. And I hope that my tune changes as this game gets closer. I'm praying that it does. Now here's where things start to get interesting with my prediction. The Louisville Cardinals. No reason we should lose this game. Right? I mean, they've got a new head coach. They did pull a lot of players out of the transfer portal, but this should be a win, right? A rebound after Florida State, or maybe momentum after Florida State. But based on my prediction, we'd have to rebound after a loss. I understand that this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's the thing about college football. It doesn't have to make sense. I'm going to put this down as a loss. Teams lose to lesser opponents all the time. I honestly don't even think that Louisville will be a better football team than us. I'm just going to go back to my previous statement that I have PTSD from losing games that we shouldn't lose. And now I expect that every single season. And until I see that change, and not even, we might have spurts or flashes of where we'll Coop in 2017, we didn't do that. I got to see some consistency, because what's much more consistent is that happening year in and year out. So for right now, basically I had to juggle here. I had to say, okay, who are the random losses going to be to in games that we shouldn't lose, that technically on paper, statistically speaking, we are better. And right now it was a toss-up between Louisville and NC State here on the tail end of the schedule. And it could be either one. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out on a limb and say this makes 0 sense. I don't even know why I'm picking it. But you could basically just close your eyes, spin your finger around. It's like playing pin the tail on the donkey. Put one on there, and we're going to lose a random game. Right now, I'm going to say it's Louisville. It is what it is. And wrapping up the 2023 regular season schedule, we have Boston College. And, I actually think that we handle business in this one. Yeah, it might be cold. Yeah, it's the day after Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's an away game. Yeah, maybe it's their red bandana game. I don't know. But I think that we'll be just fine, actually. I'm not really scared of Boston College. If I recall correctly, I think that they went 3-9 last year or something close to that. Don't expect a huge improvement out of them at this point. I mean, we've played 11 other games. If we don't have a lot of the issues and things addressed and corrected offensively and defensively, then obviously we have much bigger problems to worry about. But I do think that we finish with a W against Boston College. And that makes my official full season prediction in August 7-5 for the Miami Hurricanes. Now, I would like to add, and guys, listen, I know that it doesn't work this way. Trust me, I get it. I would like to add that I could very easily be talked into 8-4. I'm really, really riding the fence here between 7-5 and 8-4. 8-4 is a real possibility, and I want to be on the record saying that. Even though the official is 7-5, 8-4 could happen. As could 9-3 or 10-2 or 11-1 or 12-0. I'm not saying that's going to happen, because I just predicted 7-5 or 8-4. But again, college football is very unpredictable. And really, if you think about the possibility of maybe beating the Aggies week 2, that could drastically change the season in a very positive way. I think that game, there's a lot on the line with that one. The battle of the 5 and 7s. I think that mentally that a win there would help us so much. It would be such a huge confidence booster to finally get over that SEC hurdle. I mean, last team we beat was probably the Gators, and it wasn't this last time, but the time before that we played them. So it's been way too long, And if we can win that game, it might change the outcome and the outlook of the entire season. It's very possible. But just like we keep saying time and time again in this video, right now with me putting it down as a loss, I'm hovering around that 7-5 and 8-4. Because again, college football can be very, very unpredictable. It just is what it is. And I want to see you guys give me your final full season predictions down in the comment section below. Don't be shy. If you want to say, Coop, it's the wait and see approach for me, I'm not predicting anything, that's A-okay. Literally just comment that exact thing down below. If you want to say, Coop, after the Texas A&M game, I'll let you know how I'm really feeling. That's okay too. Trust me, I get it. And I'm going to be honest, it takes some balls to come on here and be like, okay, I'm predicting the season, because you're opening yourself up to be criticized. This happens every single year. I continue to do it, and yet people take to Twitter, haha, Coop was wrong. He said we'd lose this game and we won it. And I don't think people understand that if I predict a loss, it feels good to be wrong and we win. What I'm doing is I'm being cautiously optimistic. I'm kind of sort of taking a wait and see approach, but I'm being real in saying that it looks like 7-5 or 8-4, and I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised. I'm hoping that we come out and we win 9 or 10 games this season, and it's not out of the realm of possibility. I just don't see it at this point in time. But don't be shy to chop it up and let's talk about it because, again, you can change it week to week. I know, I keep saying this. I know that right now I'm saying a loss to Texas A&M, but we might come out and beat Miami of Ohio 85-0, and then I might 85-0. That's whoa. But listen, I'm just saying that week to week, I might change my mind. This is early, and that's the point. It's not the way too early, but it is early. Anyways, chomp it up down below. Remember though, guys, we're all one big happy college football family, but at the end of the day, I gotta say, it's always better when you get to rep the U. Coach Coop, peace out. I'll see y'all in the next one. It's almost time.